Hi, you guys. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having an amazing day. If you're new here, I'm Katie, and on this channel, we talk about stepping into your power and creating the life that you desire on purpose. So, really, all things manifestation, conscious creation, working with the energetics of things, and really creating the life you desire from the inside out. So, today I want to talk about how manifestation and creating the life you desire from the inside out is actually very simple. And I think that sometimes there can be a lot of noise and a lot of different people sharing a lot of different opinions, and that's all good. And there's a time and a place for all of it. And we always find exactly what we need at whatever stage of the journey we're on. But really, when it comes down to it, is you don't need all the techniques. You don't need all the tools. You don't need all the practices. Because when it comes down to it, it's not about the technique or the tool. It's not about the affirmations you're doing. It's not about, how long you're meditating for every day. It's not about whether or not you're writing down your desires in your journal every day for 10 days underneath the light of the full moon. Like, it's not about those things. And I think sometimes what can actually trip us up and keep us from feeling like we're actually manifesting what we desire is we get kind of stuck in this loop of like needing to try all the things, needing to try this technique, not needing to try it this way, feeling like you're never, I feel like it, I just did a video on this a couple days ago, but just kind of that feeling of never feeling like you're there yet. Like always, it always feels like there's something more to do, or there's another technique to try, or maybe you're doing a technique, but it doesn't feel like you're doing it the right way. And this is another way that we, like I said, we keep ourselves stuck because we're constantly in an energy of like, there's more for me to do, or I'm not doing it. Not doing the technique the right way, or we kind of get into this overload where there's always something more to be doing. And if we take it back to like everything we talk about on this channel all the time, is that what you focus on and what you believe to be true is what you're going to continue to manifest in your reality. And so if you're always kind of feeling like there's another technique, there's more affirmations, there's another thing that's going to be like the thing, then you're kind of going to be stuck in this loop of there's always something more. There's always one more technique. I can't have it until, and it's funny because when we're in that situation, it genuinely feels like, but I'm not there yet. So like I must not be doing it right. Or like, I must need to meditate longer. Or I'm not saying the affirmations the right way. But really, it's like, we need to really get real with ourselves and say, what's the belief that I'm perpetuating with this behavior? I'm perpetuating the idea that I'm not there yet. And like I said, manifestation is actually very simple. We don't need all the tools and techniques. And the only tool or technique that you need is, what's the thing that feels really good for you to do? What's the thing that you really enjoy doing? What's the thing that like when you do it, it makes you feel really good? Because manifestation, like I said, it's not about the tool or technique. It's about how you feel. And so it doesn't matter what you're doing. It matters how you feel while you're doing it. So you could never say another affirmation in your life if you don't like affirmations. You could never meditate again a day in your life if you don't like meditating. But what's the thing that you do like? Find something that gets you into the feeling of being fully satisfied, of having fully received your desires, of being the version of yourself that you really desire to be. Find the things that get you into the feeling and ignore everything else. I think that we sometimes can look at other people who maybe have a life that we want to have, or have manifested something similar to what we want, and we want to like copy their process. We want to learn from them to see what it is that they did. And then what often happens is when we try to copy their process, it doesn't work out for us because it's not really about the process. And I think that when you're at this level of higher consciousness, what it can be helpful to do is when you see somebody who's manifested what they desire or created something that you want for yourself, it's helpful to remember that you don't really what's attracting you the most is their alignment. Like what we really crave is alignment. We crave because if they're experiencing that and they're really living a life that lights them up and they really feel really good, then we don't want to be exactly like them. We don't want to do it the exact same way they did it, but what we're attracted to is the fact that they're in alignment and we want to feel the way that they're feeling. And so you can use other people as examples and you can learn from them about their processes and their techniques if that feels good to you, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to do it the exact same way because you're going to have your own unique journey. And it's helpful to remember like, okay, what is it that I really like about them? I like their energy. I like how excited they are. I like that they're really like satisfied and fulfilled in life. And the steps that they took to get there, that's not really what you're there to take from it. I think what's helpful is listening to other people's stories and how they got there, but like kind of just taking the pieces that work for you, not trying to copy the whole A to Z. These are all the steps they took. So this is what I have to do. Or they said these affirmations, like, well, this person made such and such amount of money and they said this affirmation all day, every day. Well, but is that the affirmation that feels good for you? Or is that just you trying to copy it because you're trying to get the same results? Specifically when it comes to affirmations, it's like you might hear how someone else did it, but is that how you would talk? Because if it's how someone else would talk, then it's not authentic to you. And the version of you that has everything you desire, is that what they would be saying genuinely? Like you have to think about, I think this is where, again, we like, as I say, this is the channel where we talk about stepping into your power, but this is where you have to take your power back and say, the way that I do it is the best way for me. I can look at all these different examples and learn from these different teachers and hear about these different techniques. But at the end of the day, the thing that's best for me is my way. What feels authentic and good to me. So I might learn, wow, that person has a really great morning routine. They meditate, they do breath work, they say their affirmations. It just feels amazing. Okay, but then if you went and tried to do the same exact thing, maybe it doesn't feel good. So you say, you know what I really like about it is that that person found a routine that really works for them and they have time during the day where they're really committed to themselves. So maybe for me, it's not a morning routine where I do this, and this, but it's for me, it's actually in the evening and I do these three things. And that's what feels really good for me. So you know what I mean? It's like, find what feels good for you. The manifestation part, there's no specific technique. There's not one way to do it. There's not, you don't have to write out your affirmations every day 100 times in your journal unless that feels good for you. You don't have to meditate 2 hours every day unless that feels good for you. You don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. and do 3 hours of breath work unless that feels good for you. There is no one technique. If there was one technique that worked for everybody, we would all be doing it. But that's not the point of this. The point of this is for you to come home to who you really are, for you to come home to your own truth, and for you to really remember and step back into your power and say, it's about me. It's about what feels good for me. The best path for me is my own joy. The best technique for me is the one that lights me up. The best tool that I can use is the one that feels so satisfying when I do it. So for me personally, the first thing I do when I wake up every morning is I meditate. But I don't do it because somebody told me to do it. I do it because I love starting my morning that way. I meditate for like 20 to 30 minutes. It's my me time. It's like, I just love having the mornings to myself. I love having that time to get in my own energy, in my own body, and really like set the tone for the day before I kind of go out into the world. But if I didn't like it, I would stop doing it. It's not like I have this regimen where it's like, well, I have to do this every single day. It's like, I do it because I genuinely look forward to it and I like it. And I have affirmations that I sometimes say to myself, but it's not like there's these rigid affirmations and I say them every day this many times. It's like, because that doesn't feel good to me. what I do is in the moment, if it comes to me, I might just repeat it to myself, or maybe I repeat it during my meditation, or maybe I repeat it when I'm in the shower. And it's just not for any reason other than it feels good to me, because manifestation is very simple. It is about you feeling good. It's about you feeling the way that you desire to feel right now in this moment. Because as I've mentioned in previous videos, all that matters is this now moment. And so how you feel in this now moment is going to compound into the next now moment and into the next now moment. And the more now moments that you feel this way in, the more that just becomes your life. The now moments stack up onto one another, and that just becomes your string of reality. You feeling that way over and over and over and again because it was your choice, because that's the tool or the technique. The only tool or technique you need is feeling good. So this is like the secret technique. It's just you feeling good. You don't have to force yourself to do, like, if you need a permission slip, here it is. You don't have to force yourself to do all the things. I want you to just take the pressure off yourself and realize manifest. And actually, this is a great affirmation. Now, if it feels good to you, do it. If it doesn't, doesn't. But one affirmation you could say to yourself, if it feels good, is manifestation is really simple. Start bringing that into your awareness. Start teaching that to yourself, because it really is. And the more that we think it has to be complicated, right? Like maybe you're not consciously aware that you think it has to be complicated, but the more that we say that, like, I have to be doing my affirmations every day, or I have to be doing my meditation every day, or I need to be doing this particular type of, spiritual practice every day. It's like, well, is it feeling like work? Is it feeling like a chore? Is it feeling like something you have to do? Or is it something that you love to do, that you feel overjoyed to do, that you feel like it nourishes you when you do it? One thing I was thinking about earlier today was how you could meet somebody who is like a master at creating the reality they desire, who's never watched a single video on manifestation, who's never read a single book about it, who's never even really heard about it. But because you don't really have to be aware of it, because if you're somebody who just lives your life based on what brings you joy, what feels good, what feels in the flow, then you are going to be creating a life that feels that way. And so that would create somebody who looks like they're a master manifester, right? Because even though they've never heard of it and they don't even know they're doing it, they naturally follow their joy, their bliss, the things that light them up. They naturally, maybe they have a really good sense of their self-worth. They feel really confident. And I'm sure we've all known people like that, where it's just like everything seems so easy for them. They've never even really had to try. They've never really, like, they're not doing research on any of this stuff. Like I said, they're probably not even aware of it really. But because it's not about that, like, you don't need to know all this stuff unless it feels good to you. Like, the reason I'm here teaching this stuff and talking about it is because it lights me up. It excites me. Like, when I get on these videos, I feel like I'm supercharged. I want to talk about this stuff. It's an interest to me. But if somebody isn't interested in this stuff, they could still be a master manifester, because the only thing you need is you following what feels good to you. So I hope this kind of brought you into a space where you're like, okay, this is actually easy. It's just about me feeling good. It's about me doing what feels good. Permission to kind of throw the other stuff out the window. It doesn't matter what your friends are doing. It doesn't matter what other gurus or whatever are telling you have to do. If something doesn't feel good to you, don't do it. And a lot of people are going to tell you you have to do certain techniques because maybe it's the technique that they teach, and, they want you to buy into their programs or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's certain people that are going to be drawn to that because that feels really good to them. But if it doesn't feel good to you, you don't have to stick with it. You don't have to do that particular technique. You take what works for you, and then you can move on. I've had plenty of teachers and coaches and gurus and things like that I've, learned from in different ways. And then when I feel ready to move on, I don't force myself to continue working with that person or continue being in that program or whatever it is, because if it's no longer lighting me up, I know, okay, that's my indicator that it's time to move on from this. Not because it's wrong, not because it's bad, not because that tool or technique is wrong or bad, but because it's no longer bringing me the same joy. I don't need to know why. It's not a judgment of the thing. It's just for me, okay, my energy's moving in this direction, right? So I think that's the other thing we often do is we often like make it mean something. If like we used to do one technique, let's say you used to meditate every day for an hour and a half, and now all of a sudden that feels really restrictive and it doesn't feel good anymore, but you're like, I'm supposed to force myself. I'm like supposed to do this. It's like, no, it doesn't mean meditating for an hour and a half every day is bad, but maybe now you just want to meditate for 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes at night, and that's what feels good. Or maybe you don't want to meditate every day, but you want to meditate 3 times a week, or like, you know what I mean? It's like we box ourselves in and create our own cage essentially. And it's another way that we allow our old patterns to play out even in the process of manifestation and in the process of kind of like this whole, inner journey that sometimes we what happens is all the stuff that we're trying to work through or all the stuff that we want to leave behind from past versions of ourselves, sometimes we can actually bring all of that with us into this process. And then we bring our limitations and our kind of like tendency to like need to be perfect and need to like overanalyze, and that we bring all of that into the manifestation journey. And then this starts to feel restrictive and limited and all this stuff, when really it's just very simple. It's you feeling good. And so your manifestation practice could be you doing your favorite hobby every night. Like it doesn't actually have to be some like spiritual practice. It's like, okay, if your favorite hobby is painting and every time after you paint, you feel so satisfied and peaceful and like however you genuinely like feeling, then that is your manifestation practice. And really lean into it and really enjoy it. Like um there's no rules. You get to make the rules. That's the thing. Because if you believe there's rules, there will be rules. If you believe there's a million tools and techniques that you need to master, that's what's going to happen. But if you know deep within, it's just about you following your joy. It's about you allowing yourself to feel the way that you desire to feel over and over and over again until that becomes your norm, then that's it. You're a master manifester. You're done. You did it. You're already here. All right, I'm going to leave you guys off on that note for today. Sending you so much love. Please let me know in the comments down below. What did you think? What did this bring up for you? What do you want to hear more of? I love to hear from you guys. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel. And if you're interested in working with me further in any other way, the links are going to be down below. There's a 14-day free trial to the membership, which is my monthly subscription platform where we do live monthly group energy healing calls, additional live group monthly calls where we do like Q&A, group coaching, deep dives into specific topics. There's a living library of all the tools, affirmations, meditations, journal prompts. But the thing is, you pick and choose. What do you like? Do you like any of it? You use what works for you. And yeah, there's a lot more. So that's really cool. 14-day free trial of that. And then there are also the links for working with me one-on-one. So if you want more one-on-one help with any of this stuff, you want to dive deeper, I've got links for single sessions, packages of sessions, and then also the link to apply for my longer term kind of like higher level one-on-one work. So yeah, that's down below. Hope you guys are having an amazing day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.